Hello and welcome to the PvA Nightly Rundown for Tuesday. What the fuck? Monday, September 23rd, 2019. This is episode 52. I'm your host, Luke Croft, and this is the nightly gaming news show where I run you through all the gaming news that you may have missed throughout the day so that you don't look like a fucking idiot at the water cooler tomorrow. Hopefully, everybody had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday. As good a Monday as a Monday can be. I was in meetings all day. Well, beginning of the day. Afternoon was pretty clear, but morning, all meetings. But yeah, hopefully everybody had a good day, enjoying your restful evening after that Monday. Happy first day of fall, or as they say in my neck of the woods, happy fall, y'all. Happy fall. It is the first day of fall. If Larry was here, he would know exactly what it's called. The autumnal equinox, I believe, or something like that. Hold on. Larry tweeted it earlier. I don't want to get this wrong. It's important. So let's go over here. Oh my gosh, Larry retweets so much. Why does he retweet so much? Holy cow, he retweets so much. It's the autumnal equinox. Here's Larry's tweet from today. It's the autumnal equinox. Fall is here. He taught his daughter about planetary orbit, was going to watch Hocus Pocus, and we'll put up some fall decorations and have some apple cider. That's a good way to ring in. A great way to ring in the first day of fall. The best season of the year. And if you disagree with that, much like if you know the flavors of Gatorade, probably a serial killer. If you don't love fall, there is something fundamentally wrong with you. Fundamentally. Fall is the greatest season. Here's the ranking of the seasons. Hold on. Let me make sure I got this up here. Let me make sure. Don't want to get anything get anything wrong. What is going on with my computer? Being so slow. All right. Well, I'll just give it to you here. Here's the rankings of the seasons. Fall is number 1. It's 1A, 1B. You know, it is light years ahead of every other season. Crisp, cool air. All the greatest sports coming back. Football. Basketball comes back, in October, mid-October at this point. Only a couple weeks away from the start of the NBA season. Pretty exciting. Let's see, what else? What's second? Second is spring, all right? Again, that kind of like, it's starting to get warmer, but you're still not sweating your balls off kind of heat. Stuff starting to bloom. The third best sport, baseball, kicking off. Then next is definitely winter, Very cold, bundle up inside, fires in the fireplace, Christmas season is here, And then way down at the bottom is fucking summer, guys. Summer sucks, all right? And unless you are a school-age child or a school teacher, you have no reason to like summer. Because all you're having to do is go to work in the sweltering heat, sweating your ass off. And like where I live now, I live in Virginia. I live in like the southwestern part of Virginia. It is hot from the end of April all the way through the beginning of October. Like it was still 90 degrees today. It fucking sucked. So hot. So hot. Summer can get on somewhere, man. I like wearing jeans. I like wearing layers. I like wearing little stocking caps. I need it to be cold, all right? I need it to at least be cold enough to justify opening my windows. Just letting the house kind of air out, After a summer, having to keep the windows shut because it's so hot outside, you're running the air. Anyway, I am ringing in the first day of fall with my favorite beer. This Elysian Night Owl pumpkin ale. Delicious. Creamy. Just enough pumpkin in it to make you know it's fall, but not enough to be like overwhelming. Leinenkugel has a pumpkin thing that they release at this time that I used to like, and now I try to drink and I'm like, this shit is like, it's just like punch. It's like a pumpkin cider more than it is a pumpkin beer. So take a sip of this. I don't know if Elysian is local or how far out you can get it, but if you're a pumpkin fan, you're a fan of ales, Go after it. Yeah, man, I'm sipping tonight. It's first day of fall. I don't normally drink on weeknights. First day of fall though, might as well do it right with this Elysian Night Owl pumpkin ale. Delicious. Guys, there's absolutely no reason for me to be shooting the shit up here at the top. We have a fuckload of news to get to. In fact, we've got 10 items on the list tonight. Now, Mondays, we let the show just go. All right, we're just gonna sit here. We're gonna chat. So I'm in no hurry. Not playing games with anybody. I'll log off, get everything uploaded to YouTube. So I guess now's a good time to do the rigmarole. We do this every single weeknight except for Wednesdays over here on Twitch.tv/PvA Radio at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We don't do it on Wednesdays because that's when we do our show, PvA Radio, which is our weekly gaming podcast where me and two of my friends get together and we talk about the biggest stories in gaming news. But this is the PvA Nightly Rundown, where you get to hear about all of the gaming news that you may have missed. If you can't watch it live, you can catch it the very next day on youtube.com/PvA Radio, where we either where you can watch it either broken out topic by topic and just watch the ones you care about, which I would advise tonight. Not that I don't want you to go back and watch the whole thing, but I imagine we're probably going to go about an hour and a half tonight. So you just need to strap in, get ready to get blasted in the face with gaming news. So, you may want to piece through that, figure out the stories you want to hear. You can do that. Or you can watch the entire thing over there on YouTube as well, because we do upload the entire episode. So if you are watching over on Twitch and you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go over there, youtube.com/PvA Radio, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching over on Twitch and you don't follow us over here, if you're watching over on YouTube and you don't follow us on Twitch, the link's in the description. Come on over, show some love. Let's see. Roy Speedrun says, I got pizza rolls in the oven. I'm ready. Dude, Roy Speedrun is on the pizza roll hype train right now. He was eating them last Friday, and he is coming in hot with them on a Monday as well. And did you eat any over the weekend? He also says, I just want to personally say I'm very sad you aren't going to TwitchCon, my dude, and I truly enjoy your channel. Roy Speedrun, thank you so much, my friend. I am very sad I'm not going to TwitchCon as well. Lauren and I were both planning on going, and we've been thinking about putting the house up for sale and moving, figuring out how to get myself into the esports industry, and that's still in motion, and I'd still love to do that. And we just figured, like, right now is probably not a great time to drop a few $100 on plane tickets, a few $100 on a hotel, and however much it was going to take us to go to TwitchCon as well. But my goal is next year to be settled in wherever I'm going, and to go then. And we're going to definitely still be doing the show. But I appreciate you saying that you enjoy the channel, man. I don't know why we're taking our time here at the top, but I went through a couple weeks where I was just like a little burnt, not on streaming or anything like that, and not on doing the show, but just like work was crazy, and then I was having to worry about getting my show notes together, coming in, doing the show, and I was just burnt out. So like for 2 weeks I was being real spotty, and I just told Larry, I was like, I'm going to take the rest of this week off, figure out how I can make this sustainable, and come back and nose to the grindstone, do it, make it good. And I'll tell you what, man, we came back last week, full steam ahead, changed up a little bit of our schedule on Mondays and Fridays to give myself some time to just kind of log off, because I like playing games on stream. I really do. And, but it's not like what gets me jazzed. What gets me jazzed is doing this, sitting in front of the microphone, having an agenda of stuff to go through, talking with the people that come by in the chat. Like a lot of times when I'm playing Overwatch, or if I'm playing, really when it's Overwatch or League or something, I'm so focused on the game, it's hard for me to be engaging. And so I love doing this show. So I'm glad you enjoy it, Roy Speedrun, and everybody else who watches and tunes in regularly. I appreciate you guys as well. So let's jump into it. Let's get the night started like we get every night started, with the games that released today. As always, we pull these from Kotaku's The Week in Games from Zach Zweisen. If you want to keep up, you can type in !show notes in the chat. That'll give you the rundown of all the stories that we're going to cover. And you can click on the links to the stories as well, see all the sources that we're going to be using. But this is from Zach Zweisen. Today is the 23rd. Releasing today, we have Oliver's Adventures in the Fairyland on Switch, Skyrift on PC, Mystery Solitaire Grimm's Tale 2 on PC and Mac. I think we watched the trailer for that last week when it was coming out on like Switch or something. Chronac on PC, Applewood on PC, and Starazius on PC and Mac. Those are your games that are releasing today. We're not going to watch any trailers. None of those really jump out to me as anything particularly interesting, except Applewood, unless that game is about bacon. Some Applewood smoked bacon or something like that. Roy Speedrun says, damn, the Surge 2 dropping tomorrow. The first one was pretty cool, although I didn't finish it. I've never played Surge. I started seeing, I guess the review embargo was up, so I started seeing some like reviews and review roundups coming out. Seems like people are having some fun with it. And so, yeah, that comes out tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually a decently big day. Yeah, a decently big day for releases. All right, guys, let's jump into it. First item on the list. We have a new feature announcement for both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One. Let's start with the Xbox One. This is written by IGN staff, which is weird. Hold on. Does the Xbox one say that as well? It's from Joseph Knob. Someone get fired? Someone get fired between the time this story was published and the time that we're reading it, to where they were taken off of IGN's directory of staff? Because this just says by IGN staff. So sorry, I can't give credit to who actually wrote this unless it's a collaborative piece. But if that's the case, you need to just list everybody that wrote it. Anyway. It says PlayStation 5 will include power-saving feature to tackle climate change. It says the PlayStation 5 will have an optional setting to slash the amount of power the next generation console consumes in standby mode. In a blog post, Sony announced it's working with the United Nations as a part of its, quote, Playing for the Planet, end quote, initiative, which aims to mobilize Brits, with their S's right here. So we know that this was somebody across the pond that wrote it. All right, to mobilize gamers to take an active role in combating climate change. Part of this effort involves partnered companies like PlayStation examining ways they can reduce their carbon footprint, and Sony is committing to working sustainable features into its new console's design. Quote, the next generation PlayStation console will include the possibility to suspend gameplay with much lower power consumption than PS4, which we estimate can be achieved at around 0.5 watts, end quote, writes Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Quote, if just 1 million users enabled this feature, it would save the equivalent to the average electricity use of 1,000 U.S. homes, end quote. And just for a little bit of context here, it says, compared to other forms of technology, gaming is notorious for its carbon footprint. A recent report found that American gamers emit around 12 million tons of carbon dioxide annually, the equivalent of 2.3 million cars. PlayStation has been working to reduce the environmental impact of the PS4 for the past few years by introducing energy-saving modes and tweaking its hardware. So that's the first story of this kind that we saw today. Here is the second story of this kind. Microsoft announces that Xbox consoles will be carbon neutral. This is from Joseph Knopp over at IGN. It says, Microsoft has announced it is joining a new United Nations initiative dubbed Playing for the Planet Alliance and plans to make 825,000 new Xbox consoles carbon neutral. Other partners in the initiative include 13 other companies, including Sony Interactive Entertainment, Twitch, Google Stadia, Rovio, Ubisoft, and others. Quote, some of the biggest names in the video game industry with a combined audience of 970 million players have today formally committed to harness the power of their platforms to take action in response to the climate crisis, end quote, the UN stated. Quote, combined, these commitments with from 21 companies will result in a 30 million ton reduction of CO2 emissions by 2030. We'll see millions of trees planted, new green nudges in game design, and improvements to energy management, packaging, and device recycling, end quote. Microsoft's new Xbox unit will be the first carbon neutral consoles ever, according to a statement from the company. And then they mentioned that similarly, PlayStation is working with the UN as well. So when I first saw the story about the PlayStation this morning, I was like, this seems a bit PR-y. But then when you start digging into some of the numbers, I think it is pretty impressive how, impressive in a not like positive way. The numbers for the amount of energy consumption that gamers have is impressive. And it is interesting to note that this is not something new for PlayStation, at least. When the PlayStation 4 originally released, the standby mode consumed a shitload of power. It still consumes quite a bit of power when it's in standby mode, but it is greatly reduced, and they've done a good job of kind of making those changes as the console has grown and evolved. And so this is not something that is new, but I do think it is still like a PR move, right? Climate change is an interesting thing because in all actuality, the impact that we can make as individuals for climate change is minimal in comparison to the impact that some industries, and I'm not talking like the gaming industry or like consumer brand industries, I'm talking like the livestock industry. I'm talking like the coal mining industry. These big boy industries are consuming so much energy that really they tend to negate a lot of the changes that we as individuals are trying to make. When it's like, oh, we got to conserve water, man, just to make sure you turn your tap off while you're brushing your teeth. Like, that is a great thing to do. And I'm not saying by any means that these initiatives are bad or are meaningless, but in the grand scheme of things, like, it's real funny how we as consumers feel this great pressure to change our habits and the way that we conduct ourselves in order to combat climate change, when there are so many industries that need just greatly improved in order to make systemic and meaningful changes to our climate. And so I think it's a good thing that PlayStation and Xbox have committed themselves to saying, we are going to lead the charge, and these other 12 companies, that are listed in this article, that we are going to lead this charge in our space to try to become more climate conscious about the way we run ourselves as a business. And I think that's important for a couple reasons. Number one, it perpetuates a conversation among their fan bases as to the importance of continuing to make changes in our own personal lives, because while they may not be hugely impactful, a penny saves a penny earned kind of thing, as we all work together to improve in these ways, the better things are going to become. So I think that's the first thing. But the second thing is Sony and Microsoft and Twitch and Google and Ubisoft, like, these are big companies with a lot of really big moving parts. And if they can set the pace and say, here are the steps we are taking to make ourselves more environmentally friendly, to reduce our carbon footprint, to impact climate change, they start to become a model for other companies to follow. To say, well, man, if a company as big as Microsoft can put the rudder in the water and steer the ship to make these changes, then maybe we can do the same thing too. And so I don't want people to hear me say this is a PR move and just say, oh man, Luke doesn't think that companies should be making any changes to impact climate change. But as we saw in the E3 slide deck last week, that whole like social good idea, and E3 was really leaning into that and saying, well, we know that millennials and Gen Z, they're the most socially conscious generation of all time. They, care a lot about giving. So we need to put celebrities up there who are competing for their charities, who can talk about causes that they believe in. Like we already saw with E3, who's run by the ESA, who does a lot of similar market research that these companies that are listed in this article rely on. If they're seeing that, these companies are seeing it as well. And to them, it's one of those things like, companies rarely do things if it is going to cost them more than is going to gain them. That's just the nature of business. I'm not trying to be cynical, but a company is rarely going to look and say, we will take a loss on that just for the sake of doing something that is right. This is not the way it works. If a company is willing to take a loss on something, it is because they see there's a gain in the future to be had from it. And becoming carbon neutral, becoming more environmentally friendly is not the cheaper of the options. And so I think that they're looking at it and they're saying, look, this is an issue that we think our player base cares about, or at least a portion of our player base cares about. And this kind of messaging is going to push them over the edge to either make them become loyal to a brand or just continue to keep them loyal to our brand. And that's just basic PR. And it's like we said last week on PvA Radio. A good thing done for a bad reason is not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm not even saying that Sony and Microsoft and these other companies are doing this for a bad reason. I think they're doing it conscious of the positive impact it's going to have on their perception. All right. Now let's talk real quick, because I think we got the most details really about the PlayStation 5 and some interesting things in that article. Mainly the feature that is going to save power in standby is going to be optional. I thought that was really interesting. That players are going to have to activate that setting manually. Go into their own settings, toggle that on rather than, it just being default. And so I think that we have to ask ourselves, like, what are the trade-offs going to be within that? Like, what am I not going to be able to accomplish in standby that I can currently accomplish? Is it just, it's going to, the console is going to boot up a little bit slower? Or is it going to be something bigger like, it'll boot up faster, but you're not going to be able to do your downloads? Roy Speedrun says 90% of gamers don't even think about it at all. Why make it optional? Well, I think the reason that they're making it optional is because there's probably some sort of significant trade-off within it that gamers have gotten used to. My thought is that it likely has to do with downloads. It's like, hey, and again, I'm speculating here. Right now, I think both PlayStation and Xbox have condition gamers to expect that when you place your console into standby mode, it will run all the updates that you need it to run in the background, so that you're rarely having to actually see the downloads, see the updates happening. And I think that is probably the main optics change, of what you see or don't see when it comes to power save. I don't think we consciously and I don't know, maybe correct me on this if I'm wrong, either in chat or in the comments. I think we subconsciously realize that our games are loading faster, or that, I don't have to load into my latest save point. It just pulls me up and drops me back in. While I think we do kind of consciously feel like, man, I've had this game for ages and I don't really have to ever look at it update. I feel like that with Overwatch on Xbox. I'm like, damn, I never watch this thing update. It's always just ready to go whenever I start it up. And so it's either one or the other. Either you're no longer going to be able to suspend your game. You're going to have to fully load it, but it will run the downloads in the background, or vice versa. It's still going to suspend the gameplay. You'll still be able to load right into where you left off immediately, but it's just not going to do background downloads. So I think the trade-off is one or the other, and I don't think that they want to release a console and say, well, we're going to remove this feature by default. You can activate it in the back-end settings, because I think they care. They know that people care more about their own experience than whatever, power saving that they're going to achieve through losing one of those features. That's just my thought on it. Now, and I will be one of those people that considers it okay, if it'll still download the games, it just doesn't suspend them, then I think I would do that. But if it suspends the games, but it doesn't allow you to download them, I don't think I will do that. So, overview here, just to make sure I'm perfectly clear, I think it's a good move. I think it's smart. I think any step we can make towards progress and our own energy consumption is good. I think they understand the positive public relations perception that they're getting from this stuff. And then, those specific details about the PS4, we'll just see them as they come down the pipeline. It's been so fucking hot in this room. Really fucking hot. And maybe it's because I'm sipping on this beer and I get hot every time I'm drinking this beer. All right, let's move on. Next story on the list. Borderlands 3 moves more than 5 million copies in its first 5 days. This is from Robert Ramsey over at Push Square. It says, it's safe to say that Borderlands 3 has been a hit. Publisher 2K has revealed that the looter shooter sold more than 5 million copies over its first 5 days on the market, making it the fastest selling release in the company's history, an impressive result. Interestingly, 2K says that over 70% of those sales were digital. Obviously, that's taking PC numbers into account, but it's still a significant statistic. As for how Borderlands 3 stacks up to its predecessors, Borderlands 2 currently sits at a crazy 20 million units or thereabouts. So this latest installment still has a lot of catching up to do. That said, if Borderlands 3 can remain popular for as long as Borderlands 2 has, then it's in with a chance. So Roy Speedrun says, that's insane to me that Borderlands 3 sold better than, say, NBA 2K. Yeah, that's super impressive. Now, okay, they did say in the company's history. I thought I saw elsewhere where it was just in this franchise's history. Let me double check some numbers here. Double checking. Wait, did they link to the actual source here? No, they didn't. Unless it's at the bottom of the article. I should have done more research here. All right, let's look this up, because I thought I saw elsewhere where it just said it was the fastest selling game in the franchise. Here we go. Borderlands 3 crosses 5 million sold. This is Samuel Tolbert. Feel like that would be a no-brainer, though. Yeah, that's a good point. It wouldn't really be able to. All right, let's all right, I can't find it, but yes, if it's sold, if this is the fastest selling game in the franchise, I mean, in 2K's history, the fact that this sold better than any NBA 2K game, I think it is pretty wild. This is a terrible article. That article had absolutely fucking nothing. Yep, Borderlands 3 is 2K's fastest selling game ever. This is from Alicia Judge over at IGN. All right, so confirm that. Sorry, I missaw something. Anyway, yeah, that's crazy. That it outsold NBA games. Damn. Which, to be fair, I don't know how much this impacts it. And I don't want to make an argument to say like, oh, well, I think NBA probably sells faster. But NBA over the last few years, at least, has had a lot of like split releases where it's like, hey, we'll release to certain versions of it on this day, and then a few days later we'll release this version of it. So they've had some split focus on their releases as well that I think need to be taken into account. But yeah, Borderlands 3, obviously everyone knew like this game is going to be huge. People have been hyped about this game for years, and I feel like Borderlands 3 conversation has dominated news cycles. It's pretty much, if Borderlands 3 news comes out, it has been the lead over everything except for maybe Death Stranding. In terms of media coverage, I think Death Stranding probably stops the presses more than Borderlands has, but Borderlands is not very far behind it in that sense. A couple of interesting things to note here. Number one, great job on the Epic boycott, guys. You really slowed down the sales there. Really fucking showed 2K who was boss. Like, oh man, oh, we're not going to buy this game on the Epic Game Store. We're going to wait for it to come to Steam. Like, yeah, okay. I'm sure that some of you exist out there, but right here, 2K, Gearbox, Randy Pitchford, these people don't give a shit, all right? Continue to throw your little tantrums in the corner over there, and they're just going to continue to make money hand over fist. Roy Speedrun says, Borderlands has been my little brother's favorite game series since the beginning. Their fan base is insane. Yeah, I've never really been like super into it. I played Borderlands 2 on both Vita, and then I went back and played it on PC. And I'm probably going to play Borderlands 3 at some point, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of games that like try to be funny. generally. And while I thought the shooting and the looting was fun, the writing just never really connected with me. And I think that a lot of people really get into like the lore and the story and the characters in Borderlands, and that was just never something that I attached myself to. Roy Speedrun says, and I really want to play it, just don't want to shell out the $60 right now. That's where I am, man. There's so much good stuff that I'm looking forward to coming out this year that I'm like, I'll probably just wait for Borderlands to be on sale. Anyway, another interesting thing here is the 70% of those sales being digital. And we're just kind of in this crazy place right now with game sales. And I feel like even back when like we were doing the Player 3 podcast, which was a couple years ago, you know, we were like, oh man, we're probably pretty far from it, but I can see a day where, you know, it's 50-50. Like, oh man, we're 50% of sales will be digital sales. And here we are, where like really the only way to purchase this game, I mean, really the only way to purchase this game on PC is digitally. But there's so many perks to purchasing a game digitally now, especially a game that's split screen like this, where you're buying it for a multi-console home for people who game share. You know, there's that benefit where I think cooperative games kind of get a little boost in digital sales because you can game share them and play them with your buddies. But also just, I don't have to fucking leave my house and go to a 9:00 release and come back and have it load. Like, it just unlocks when it's ready to unlock. So, and I think that we're going to slowly work our way. Like, I don't think physical sales are going anywhere in terms of, we're not going to see a day anytime soon. And I'll probably eat these words where it's like, oh man, major publishers are really backing out of selling physical because it's just not, they're just not moving units. But I think in the next generation, it's going to become so much more convenient. I think there's going to be a lot of foundational things that have been sorted out with digital sales that will be addressed in the next generation. That a lot of companies are just going to be like, that we're going to start to see like 85% of sales coming from the digital side. Roy Speedrun says, my brother let me borrow Astral Chain, though. Stoked to start that. Dude, Astral Chain, fucking fun. All right. I need to get back into it, but I've played like the first 6 or 7 hours of it, and it's a blast. Roy Speedrun also says, I'm all for digital. I've never bought a physical game on PC. I'm all digital for the most part now. The only thing I buy physical games on is Switch. And that's for a couple reasons. Number one, there's no game sharing on Switch, and I game share on PlayStation and Xbox. But the second reason is I will buy digitally anything that isn't like a Switch exclusive. So, and the reason for that is I worked at GameStop long enough to know Nintendo exclusive games hold their trade-in value forever. Like, I'm sure I can probably still go trade in Astral Chain after a few weeks of it being out and still get like $25 to $30 for it. And that's just not the way that those games generally work. You know, you buy any other big game and within a month you're getting, you know, $18 for it in trade. You can probably still trade in Smash Brothers, which has been out for what, almost a year at this point. I bet the trade value on Smash is still $25. Roy Speedrun says, I traded in Xenoblade just a few months ago for like $37. Let's look up let's look up Smash Brothers trade-in value right now on GameStop.com. Smash Brothers Ultimate, here we go. So if you have a pro card, you can still trade in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which has been out for almost a year, for $38.50. And if you're not a pro member, you get $35 for it. So that's the reason I buy Nintendo games physically, because those games just hold their value. But yeah, I've moved all digital everywhere else. This idea of will Borderlands 3 pass other Borderlands franchises in terms of most sold? They talk about the 20 million for Borderlands 2. I think that's no question. I don't think it's even going to be close. Borderlands 3 is definitely going to pass Borderlands 2, and I think for a couple reasons. Number one, as they continue to lean into the game as service and introduce new events, new DLC, new free content, it's going to keep the player base engaged, and people are going to have more reason as time moves on to jump into it at another point. So I think that's one reason. And the second reason is I've already seen a lot of people who are like, man, I'm holding out for the PS5 and the next Xbox version of the game. You know, people who have kind of put themselves on a buying freeze because they know a lot of these games are going to get re-released on the next console. And if it's anything like the PS4, Xbox One generation, a lot of pretty much the only games you're going to be able to play for the first few months are just re-releases and remasters of games that released on the prior console. So I think you've got a lot of people maybe subscribing to that as well that are just like, I'm going to hold off on all my new game sales. I got plenty of backlog for the PS4, Xbox One, and then in the lull at the beginning of the next generation, I'll jump back into these games at the end of the generation that I've missed. So I think that we're easily going to pass the 20 million units sold for Borderlands 2. I just don't think it's a question. Plus, we're probably going to sell another 5 million units during the holiday season. So you're right there halfway to it, and the calendar year isn't even up yet. Roy Speedrun says, yeah, really only time I go to GameStop is when I have Nintendo games to trade. Dude, I went to GameStop this weekend with my wife to pick up Link's Awakening for her because she's been wanting to play it. She's been like real excited about the trailers coming out. And so we're at the counter, and I know I tell these GameStop stories all the time, and one day I'll learn to not go in there anymore. I should have bought the game from Walmart. Walmart's doing something with Nintendo games now where everything that they sell is basically $10 cheaper. And so you can go buy Link's Awakening right now from Walmart for $50 rather than $60. But anyway, so I went into GameStop because I was like, man, I don't know if the purple Xbox controllers, like the Fortnite controllers, have come out yet, but I really, really wanted one. So took Lauren to go pick up her game, and we're standing at the register. And while I'm at the register checking out, the lady at the counter says, hey, did you get a chance to check out our ad? We've got a Pro Day sale going on right now. And I'm like, okay, let's think logically here for a second. I'm at the counter. I have this product in my hand that I am about to buy. You are currently ringing it up. I've put in my phone number for my power-up card. Do you think that I'm going to look at this ad and be like, hold the phone here, I'm going to continue shopping? Like, if you really want me to see the ad that's going on, like, hit me up when I first walk through the door. Like, hey, just so you know, it's a Pro Day. It's our Pro Day sale. Here's our ad. Check it out. Feel free to browse. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't do it when I'm standing there. Then she gives me the whole rigmarole about updating my card, tells me about all the savings that I've missed, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I hear you, but I'm still not interested. Then she wants me to pre-order. She's like, I've got two of the purple Xbox controllers on the way. They'll be here on Monday. Do you want to go ahead and pre-order one? And I was like, nah, not really. I'll just order it. And she's like, but then you can come pick it up here. I was like, or I can stay at my house and have a man driving a big brown truck bring it to me. And so I didn't end up ordering it Saturday. I ordered it yesterday, so it won't be here till tomorrow. But I was just like, and it's just, I don't need the fucking Fifth Degree or whatever it's called. Like, I don't need to be interrogated every time I go into your store, man. Like, I clearly know what I'm here for. Just let me get what I'm here for. Anyway, Roy Speedrun says, did you play the Modern Warfare beta at all? I did not. I played the shit out of the alpha, and I meant to jump into the beta this weekend, but there was just so much football to watch, guys. My wife hates me right now. I've been watching so much football, college and pro. And there's a commercial that plays on NBC that's like, there's no such thing as too much football. And my wife's like hell there isn't. We experienced it this weekend. So yeah, I didn't jump into a Modern Warfare beta. I didn't really play anything this weekend, honestly. Maybe a little Overwatch. Yo, Durka. How's it going, my friend? I'm doing well. It's good to see you in here. Yeah, we're just running through this crazy hectic day worth of news. Seriously, there is a shitload going on. And there's going to be even more going on tomorrow between the Inside Xbox and the PlayStation thing, the State of Play. So, yep, Borderlands, 5 million. I haven't played it yet, but I know I will. Next item on the list. Xbox announces an Inside Xbox for September 24th. That is tomorrow, guys. Today is the 23rd, the first day of fall. Happy fall, y'all. This is from Alex Gibson over at My Old Stomping Grounds Twinfinite. Says Sony's State of Play isn't the only publisher broadcast we'll be getting tomorrow. Microsoft has announced another Inside Xbox event will take place at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with huge updates on Project xCloud, Game Pass, XO19, and preview coverage of some notable upcoming games. The announcement was made via social media today, which included a short video teasing what we can expect to see. In addition to the aforementioned beats, a number of games will be showcased. The confirmed list so far is as follows: The Outer Worlds, DayZ, Hitman 2, The After Party, Code Vein, Atlas, Felix the Reaper, Children of Morta, and Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So that's tomorrow. I think State of Play is at 4. And so Inside Xbox is going to be at 6. And you have to imagine that somebody at one of these companies, I would imagine it was somebody at Xbox, stepped back, saw that PlayStation announced the State of Play for Tuesday, and I think they announced that on Thursday, and just went, fuck. And it's not like you can just go in and say, all right, we're going to change the publish date on this YouTube video. We'll do it the next day. Because it's not just the video that's going out. Like, I imagine there's videos, there's blog posts, there's probably even marketing material going out to retailers. There's storefront updates that are going to be happening over on the Xbox and on PC game fronts as well. Like, there's a lot of moving parts to making announcements like this. And so I imagine with both of the, I don't imagine both of these going on the same day was a part of the plan. And so, but there's really no option left when companies are making these decisions announcements mere days before they're going to happen. Like, there's not much room to make adjustments there. Roy Speedrun says, happy fall. It's only 96 degrees here. Dude, it was 91 degrees here today. And so I work from a coffee shop almost every single morning when I'm working from home. And I've been going out because the mornings have been a little chilly, but then like by the afternoon, man, I can't even think about going outside. Durka says, yeah, it was nearly 80 degrees here in Michigan. I'll take nearly 80 degrees. Last week we had a day that the high was like 77, and I was like, oh shit, it's fall. Which is not fall at all. Roy Speedrun, you're excited about Outer Worlds? I am too. I'm also excited because the After Party, I think it was announced today, is going to be day and date on Game Pass as well, which I'm very much looking forward to, from the makers of Oxenfree, playing a drinking game with the devil in order to get out of hell. Sounds right up my alley, man. I'm ready. Let's drink, devil. I've actually never tried to outdrink somebody. But yeah, big news coming tomorrow from both fronts. I think we're going to be getting, obviously, release date for The Last of Us, get details on Ghost of Tsushima, probably some more shit for like Medieval and all that. And then with XO19, I think they're laying out the expectations very clearly. Like, don't expect anything really earth-shaking in terms of new announcements, but talking more about Project xCloud. I think more about games that are coming day and date to Game Pass. Do you guys think that there's another game that's releasing this fall? Like, what are the biggest? Let's look up a list. Biggest game releases this fall. Like, do you think that there's one more game that they've got up their sleeve to say this is going to be on Xbox Game Pass day and date? The only thing I can think of, because it's just kind of an interesting game to be on this list. Hold on, where's my Inside Xbox? Here we go. There's one of these things that doesn't feel like the other here. And that, to me, is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Yeah, Roy Speedrun says Breakpoint would be nice because I don't want to pay for it. I'm right there with you, my dude. I want to play Breakpoint, but the more I see about Breakpoint, we'll get to this here in just a second, the more I'm like, I don't know. But I could definitely see them saying, hey, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, day and date on Xbox. But let's see. Hitman 2 is already out, so what is there to announce about Hitman 2? Hitman 2 is out, right? Hitman 2 release date? Yeah, it's been out for almost a year. So that's a weird game to be on this list as well. So maybe that's like that coming to Game Pass or more DLC or who knows. But yeah, I could see Breakpoint coming to coming to Game Pass. It looks like Ubisoft wants to get in on some of these service industries and see, on some of these services that, they're kind of all in on Stadia, get in on Game Pass. They're kind of in on the whole streaming side of things as well. So maybe there's going to be a tie-in to the Project X Cloud. Yeah, but we'll have that all covered tomorrow. Tomorrow, all of the speculation will die. Roy Speedrun says, but with Uplay Plus just launching, I don't see it. Uplay Plus is only on PC though. And where Game Pass exists in both just a PC form and on, like, you can release a game on Game Pass that's only available on Xbox, even if there's a PC version of it. And so, maybe Ubisoft doesn't have the infrastructure right now. I mean, they clearly don't have the infrastructure right now to do this on console, or the desire to do it on console. So let's benefit from it. And I think that there's a reason for that. And we're going to skip. No, we're not. It's the very next item on the list. It's the next item on the list. Here's the reason I believe so. Ghost Recon will have a battle pass, time savers, and microtransactions. This is from cousin Liam Croft. He's not really my cousin, but I like to call him cousin Liam Croft because we have the same last name. Says it was sort of inevitable, but Ubisoft has now confirmed that Ghost Recon Breakpoint will function exactly like a game as a service. It'll have 2 battle passes for each of the 3 episodes planned for release over the game's first year of support. Time savers that will help you get the rewards and materials you want quicker, and everybody's favorite thing, microtransactions. Confirmed in the deep dive on what's planned for the tactical experience in its first year on the market, it has been revealed that you'll be able to earn battle points through the completion of faction missions and Ghost War matches. Rather suspiciously, however, there will be a cap on the amount of points you can earn on any given day. Instead of progressing through 50 set tiers, you'll be able to rank up and be awarded a random item every time. Should you do that 50 times, you will earn everything that particular act has to offer without the possibility of duplicates, and fuck that shit so much. God damn, I am so tired of this shit, guys. I am so tired of this mobile microtransaction dependent. We're making you feel forced to be engaged with our game. Like, what's going to get me to play your game every single day? This is a huge secret, guys. I'm going to let the industry in on a very big secret right here. Make your game fun to play. And I will play it every single day, guys. I have not been... The only time I ever care about the microtransactions in Overwatch is during the Halloween event. I still haven't bought any packs or anything like that. But I play Overwatch at least a few times a week. I used to, up until probably about 6 months ago, I played Overwatch nearly every single day. And you know why? Not because any stupid mechanic gets me to come back and have some forced engagement with the game. It's because the game is fun. It's fun to play. Log on to Gears Pop. Very first day. It's like, hey, open up this email. You get a reward. You get a reward. And then you open the reward and then you get a notification. Log in every day for the next 6 days and you keep getting rewards. And then on the 7th day, if you've logged in every day, you're going to get a really big one. And it's forced engagement. And what they understand is if we can get people in the habit of just booting into this game, it's really hard to break that habit. Roy Speedrun says, I've been playing Insurgency Sandstorm almost every day since I bought it. The game doesn't have microtransactions at all. And why do you play it, Roy Speedrun? Is it because the developer comes in and says, Roy, log in every single day and we will do you a great favor? Durka says, that was me with Smite, and they used to reward us for grinding games and things with small amounts of premium currency. And then Roy Speedrun says, they want you to be addicted to the game, plain and simple. And that's it. And I understand. Look, there's a ton of shit to play. Tons of games to play. You want to give me a reason to play your game. But I don't have any faith that your game is fun if you have to bribe me into playing it. No faith in it. So this whole idea that hey, there's a limit to the amount of points that you can earn in any given day, all that makes me think of is a fucking shitty ass mobile game that isn't actually fun and only relies on forcing me to engage in it because I need the next thing. And these time saver things in cooperative games fucking suck, man. And I'm kind of on, like, I'm feeling it now. I'm just on the train. Just laying in here. First of all, Roy Speedrun says, nah, it's because it's super fun and satisfying to play. Exactly. Durka says, if you tell me I can get free shit by grinding, I'm interested. And look, I get that. I'm the same way. Like, you know, a game like The Division. Like, hey, you're constantly upgrading while you grind out your character. Like, that stuff gets me too. But when you just are so transparent about what you're trying to do to people, it just makes me lose all kinds of faith in how fun a product your game is. But I really hate this in a cooperative game where it's like, hey, you can pay for these boosts that let you launch into your progression system, get more items in a cooperative game, because with my group of friends, we don't like to play ahead of one another. We don't like to get too far ahead because, like, there's some of the guys that I play with who would just, like, if they could, they'd sit down there all day the first 2 days, get to the max level, and then, like, those of us who can't dedicate that kind of time would never be able to play with them. And so adding in these things of like, oh, this is a cooperative game, you can play this game together, but hey, your buddy may pay for some accelerator that gets them 10 levels ahead of you instantly. You feel compelled to have to either play the game in order to keep up or pay in order to keep up. And I just think that, like, that model's so shitty, man. I'm just sick of seeing this stuff. Like, your game isn't even out yet, and this is a $60 game. We're not talking about a free-to-play game. We're not talking about a free-to-play game announcing their microtransactions, their DLC, their battle passes. We're not talking about Fortnite here. We're talking about a $60 game that's already telling me the way that I can spend the money to play it. Roy Speedrun says, it's kind of like what happened with me in Destiny. I played and loved it for a while and was pretty addicted. Then one day, I was just sitting there thinking, why do I play this? I've been there. Dirk says, on the flip side, in LoL, there's no way to get premium currency without spending money. Feels scummy in comparison to the Smite way of grinding. I like League of Legends because it just tells you how much you can pay to get this shit that you want. And I'm much more for that. Like, hey, you got premium skins in the game. You want me to pay fucking $15 for this premium skin? All right, that's cool. I'm not going to do it, but thanks for being transparent about it and not making me feel like I've got chances by opening up some, you know, random ass loot boxes that you don't have to publish the drop rates on. Like, thank you. Thank you to any game that does that. Roy Speedrun says, a free-to-play game is very different. Yeah, and it is. Like, I'm a little more accepting of a free-to-play game like Fortnite announcing these sorts of things. But Ghost Recon Breakpoint is at the very least $60. Very least $60. There is probably an $80 version. There's probably a $100 version of this game. But at the very least, it's a $60 game. And they're already telling me, hey, you can spend more money on this shit that's coming. Like, I'm just done with it, man. It's exhausting. Where Speedrun says, that's one of the reasons I turned to Warframe after Destiny. Warframe was more inventive and more fun while also being more wallet friendly, even after being free to play. And I've heard that a lot about Warframe. Warframe is a game I've started 3 times on 3 different platforms, and it's just never connected. And I don't think it has anything to do with the game. I think it has a little bit to do with the game. I'm very sensitive to the ramp up in games. And if I feel like the ramp is taking just too long to get to the fucking point, it's like a shit or get off the pot kind of deal. I'm like, and that's the way I felt with Warframe. And I understand there's a lot of systems and mechanics in that game that you have to learn, but at one point I was like, just let me go. Like, let me discover it. Because I've heard once you get past like those first few missions and you get into kind of the open world segments of Warframe, it really takes off. And maybe I just need to dedicate myself to being absolutely frustrated by it for those first few hours just to get there. Because I miss that Destiny experience, and Warframe looks really fucking fun. Durka says, well, Smite says the same, but offered a grindy alternative. Spent a bunch of money on Warframe, not because I felt I have to, but because they have held me for years and I did it to support the game. And look, that's totally cool too. Like, I don't begrudge anybody who spends money on these games, who like pays for these microtransactions. That's up to you, and more power to you. And I think, you know, wanting to support a developer is awesome, but like, this Ubisoft stuff with Ghost Recon Breakpoint is just clearly they're trying to gouge you. But the reason I think this connects to the Game Pass news is because with a monetization model that follows the release of the mainstay game, I think Ubisoft knows, like, hey, we expect to make more money on the fall off from this, like on the runoff from this, than we do on the actual game sale itself. So let's just put the base game out there for people to play, either through Uplay Plus or cut a deal with Xbox Game Pass to have it available for us there. And then, you know, we're going to get that runoff because this DLC isn't included. Roy Speedrun says, yeah, I've spent about $10 on Warframe for 190 hours or so. Not bad. And Durka says, I spent like about 200, I think, in a total over the years, but I've been playing for like 7 years. So Warframe is one of those games I just need to give a shot. So my big prediction for tomorrow is Ghost Recon Breakpoint going to be day and date on Xbox Game Pass. Not willing to eat a pepper for that like I am for the Last of Us release date. Nonetheless, moving on. Speaking of Fortnite, Roy Speedrun. Fortnite is getting skill-based matchmaking and bots. This is from Emily Guerra over at VG247. It says Fortnite is getting skill-based I can't read tonight, guys. Fortnite is getting skill-based matchmaking and bots for practice, which isn't true. It's not just for practice, in its upcoming 10.4 update. It says Fortnite's matchmaking system hasn't changed much since it was released 2 years ago, Epic writes in a post detailing the future update. But with the new patch incoming, the studio is looking to improve its old matchmaking logic. Version 10.4 aims to create fairer matches, quote, you will be more likely to match with players of similar skill, and as you get better, so should your opponents, end quote, writes Epic. Quote, we will slowly roll this out to all regions across Battle Royale core modes as we test and monitor how it performs. We're excited to get this out for everyone to play with and will continue to update the system, end quote. The Battle Royale game is also getting practice bots, but these will only be accessible after Fortnite Season 11 hits. Epic hasn't offered a concrete date for that, but it's looking like it'll probably be happening around October 6th. During this coming season, bots will be added at lower tiers of the skill ranking and will apparently behave, quote, similarly to normal players, end quote. Then as you rise in the ranks, you will begin to see fewer bots. Bots will not be present in competitive games, says Epic, adding, quote, this is another system that we will continue to update and iterate. So those are the details of the few changes coming to Fortnite here. I'm going to be honest, guys. I thought Fortnite had some sort of like skill-based matchmaking system. So how did they do the competitive ladder shit for the Fortnite World Cup? Like, does competitive have its own ladder, but they're bringing in like skill-based matchmaking for all modes, or it's all point-based? Okay. But I mean, that's essentially what Overwatch does. Gain X amount of points for winning, lose X amount of points for losing, yada, 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 unless it was fully staged. There we go, Roy Speedrun. Possibly. I need to get the chat box back up here so that people know when I'm responding. Roy Speedrun with the Illuminati eye in the chat. He's got conspiracies, man. Put that tinfoil hat on. So, yeah, I'm sure these are welcome changes to Fortnite. I imagine not having a skill-based matchmaking system is probably frustrating. That's going to make that experience a lot more fun to a lot more players there. The bots in actual matches is strange to me. Like, is that because they feel like the lower ranked games aren't going? It's not that. I just thought about it. It's not that. It's not that they're afraid that lower rated games are going to have less of a player base. That doesn't make any sense. Obviously, your majority of players are probably going to be in the lower rankings, or else, like, that's not how high skill players work. There's not a ton of them. That's right. Roy Speedrun says they want the losers to have fun too. That's it. There's going to be, I doubt there's going to be any way to really distinguish who is a bot and who is not. And they want people to get kills and to feel like they're being awesome and to stay engaged. It's the same reason they put the mech in the game. So yeah, I'm with you on this Illuminati shit here. Maybe not for the fully staged World Cup, but for, we're putting these in the game so that people can feel like they're actually accomplishing something, when in reality you're playing against fucking low AI bots. Feels like Overwatch added bots to my competitive games a long time ago. They all somehow end up on my team. Let me tell a quick Overwatch story here while we take a break before our next story and I take a sip of this beer. So I'm playing Overwatch on Friday with Larry. And one of the things we always run into when we're playing Overwatch competitively is nobody fucking joins voice. And this is not an uncommon thing for Overwatch players. And so we get into this game and there's 6 people in voice. It's me, Larry, and our 4 teammates. We're all in voice. I'm like, what the fuck? This is a goddamn miracle. And my thing is, like, I don't care if you're on mic, you don't have to shot call, but I talk all the time and like I'm calling shit out while I'm playing. And it's just nice to know that you can hear me. When I say group up, you can hear me say group up. When I call a target, you hear me call the target. Like, hey, everybody being in voice is fucking awesome because there's no ping system in Overwatch, although that would be dope. So anyway, we have all 6 people. I'm like, this is great. Nobody's talking, but again, that's fine. Well, we get a Moira on our team, who is the most battle-ass Moira I've ever seen in my entire life. She's in the front line, purpling everybody, doesn't throw out a single goddamn yellow ward, probably has no idea her fucking yellow piss heals people. Like, and so she's just stepping out in front of us tanks, getting shit on every single time. And I'm like, Moira, just hang behind us. You will get your opportunity to get kills. Just hang behind us because we need healing more than we need you to step out and just get shit on. Like, and I've got a basic rule when I'm playing. Like, I do not tilt people in the middle of a match. Like, I refuse to. I don't refuse to, as will be evidenced by the rest of the story. I rarely, if ever, will flame people in the middle of a game because I'm like, look, I don't want you to just start throwing because you're mad at me. But as I tell this Moira to stop getting shit on in the front line, which I didn't use exactly those words, but all they start doing is this. Just making all kinds of disgusting mouth noises into the mic. And I was like, oh my gosh. And at first it appeared to be accidental, but then they got more frequent. And so we're at the end of of round 1, and we're playing on Junkertown. And I was like, I'm really fucking glad this person joined voice and leaves their mic unmuted just to make disgusting ass mouth noises. I was like, I would be able to tolerate this a little bit if maybe, possibly, you were good at this game. Like, and so I was so pissed. I was so tilted. I get so mad at that game. Roy Speedrun says Decky, LOL. Is that what Decky does? Does he get on the mic? Does he do it intentionally? I can see Decky trolling. Getting on the mic and making gross noises. So mad. We ended up losing. Did we lose? Maybe I think we actually won that game. Somehow. In a basic 5v6. No, we lost. We lost. We got held. Oh, it was supposed to be a BTTV event. I don't have BTTV installed. I need to do that. My apologies. Sorry, Roy Speedrun. I ruined your moment. All right. Next story on the list. Google launches Apple Arcade competitor Google Play Pass today. This is from IGN. Joseph Knopp wrote this. It says, less than a week after the launch of Apple Arcade, the Google Play Store announced its own subscription-based mobile game storefront on Monday, calling it, quote, Google Play Pass, end quote. Google Play Store users can opt to pay $4.99 a month. A special offer for $1.99 a month for the first year is currently available in order to gain access to a library of more than 350 apps, not just games, with new games and apps being added monthly. Google says that Play Pass games and apps will feature 0 ads, in-app purchases, or paywalls. You can check out the trailer here. Let's watch this. I haven't checked it out. Oh my gosh.
We play to explore.
Monument Valley, Stardew Valley, Old Man's Journey, Toka Nature, Limbo. There's some good ass games here. Terraria, Knights of the Old Republic. What the fuck?
So we can stretch our
These games are dope as hell.
down the bad guys.
Game of Thrones.
For the stars, or become one. We play,
The inclusion of apps is a little weird.
and now we can.
ISS HT Live? I can fucking watch a feed that is, I believe, free for me online at all times.
Family-friendly titles.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
And with new games and apps every month, there's always something new to play.
Fuck yeah, dude. Did I see Risk on
We
there?
can explore more.
Yo, I'm about to go get a Google phone.
We can play.
There's some sweet ass games on that. Yo, Google Play Pass. Making moves, man. Can watch the International Space Station HD feed. But no, there are actual games on it. As you saw there, Terraria, Monument Valley, Stardew Valley. Let me go back here to the IGN article. That's dope, man. That's really cool. Look, I've been playing, I downloaded some games from Apple Arcade because the first month is free. And I love it, man. I love this curated list of mobile games. I think that's probably the biggest benefit here. I think mobile gaming is a space that a lot of people take for granted, myself included, just because there's so much noise and so much shit, and the things that make it to the top of the charts are often things with very terrible monetization models, you know, stuff that I was just bitching about earlier as far as microtransactions and stuff go. And so I love this idea that, like, hey, Google and Apple are taking they're taking on the role of curators for these services because it is a financial benefit to them. It's a financial benefit to the developers, and it's going to help at the end of the day show mobile gaming as a viable space to make good games, which we know, I think, subconsciously, but it's just hard to wade through all the crap in order to get to it. Roy Speedrun says the Google Nexus was the best phone I ever owned. Wish I had a Pixel, honestly. So I've got an XS Max, an iPhone XS Max. I love it. I love iPhone. I've had iPhone since iPhone like 4S, I think. I at one point tried a Samsung and I had it for 3 days and was like, nah, fuck this. I'm going back to the iPhone. The only phone that has ever tempted me to move away from my iPhone has been the Google Pixel. Larry's got a Pixel. He loves it. Almost everything I do is on Google Drive. Like, I live in Google Drive, both for work and personally. And so I'm like, man, should I just get a phone that works natively with that? Especially now that I'm like working a lot more on my PC, thinking about moving away from Mac next time I buy a laptop. Like, should I move on? And honestly, like, and I'm not saying Google Play Pass is going to be some kind of like, it's definitely not going to be like something that puts me over the edge in that decision, but it'll definitely factor in the fact that I'll be able to play Stadia from a Google Pixel. Like, I don't know. I'm more and more tempted to move away from my iPhone just because I want to change. I almost bought an Apple Watch last week. Decided against it. I went to the store and was like, I'm gonna get the Apple Watch Series 3 because it just had a price cut. I'm gonna go in. If they don't have it though, I'm gonna take it as a sign from the universe and just know that I'm not meant to have an Apple. Not meant to have an Apple Watch. And the dude is like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to go check in the back. I'm like, don't you have a fucking computer that can tell you what you have in stock or not? He's like, it's just gonna be quicker if I go look. And he leaves, no joke, for like 15 minutes and comes back and is like, I think we're all out, man. I was like, do you think or do you know? Like, if you just look it up on your computer, you have an electronic inventory system at your fingertips. Like, why do you have to go back and sift through the fucking shelves to see what you have in stock? Like, just tell me from the computer. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure we're out. It's like, all right, man. So I just took that as my sign from the universe. I don't need an Apple Watch. Roy Speedrun says Samsung suck because they use TouchWiz. They lay their own bullshit over the Android OS and weigh the device down. They're never as powerful as they sound because they're basically modded out of the box. It's stupid. My wife has a Samsung. She's not like a real big techie. She likes her phone. My wife is a little bit of a cool kid and just like wants to hate on Apple all the time though. So I think that's part of the reason. She's like, I'm never going Apple. I'm like, I just want your text messages to be blue. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask as your husband? Anyway. Yeah, Google phone is the only thing I'd consider moving to. And Google Play looks fucking awesome. Moving on. I'm sorry, not Google Play. Google Play Pass looks awesome. Moving on. Obsidian is working on a first-person melee combat RPG. This is from Alicio Palumbo. over at WCCF Tech. It says Obsidian Entertainment may be polishing up the Outer Worlds ahead of the game's October 25th release date, but they're also gearing up for another project, as mentioned by Microsoft's Aaron Greenberg. Last week, they posted 11 job ads on LinkedIn, which provide a picture of what kind of game it will be. The studio described it as a, quote, world-class RPG, end quote, made in Unreal Engine 4, just like the Outer Worlds. But the most interesting tidbits are arguably the multiplayer. Obsidian is looking for a network programmer, and even the gameplay programmer position has, quote, multiplayer game development experience, end quote, listed as a plus. And the focus on first-person melee combat for the position of combat designer. Here's the quote. Obsidian Entertainment is looking for a combat designer with proven experience in developing first-person melee combat gameplay to join our team and talented developers. This role will work closely with artists, animators, audio, and gameplay programmers to determine the overall flow, look, and feel of the total combat experience. The ideal candidate will be someone who can collaboratively plan and create fun, visceral, and epic combat, including the main character, AI character, and gameplay objects across varied encountered types. So yeah, Obsidian is known for their work in RPGs. I think the Outer Worlds is going to be fucking dope when it comes out later next month. But already gearing up for that next process. Oh man, my live dashboard on Twitch just freaked the fuck out. There we go. Gearing up for their next project. Is there a like first person melee based like Destiny type game? Because I think that would be pretty cool. Like working on your melee loadout, but in kind of a Destiny kind of world where game of service. I'd be for that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Roy Speedrun says, I'm happy with my 8 Plus, but yeah, I used to be a huge phone nerd. I'm just an Apple shill. I'm not really a phone nerd. I can't tell you anything about the tech specs of my phone or anything like that. I'm just a nerd. But honestly, the iPhone 11, and we're getting kind of away from the point of the show, but who cares? The iPhone 11, whatever, 11 Pro or whatever, let's go to their page real quick. And I'll show you exactly why. Oh my gosh, I can't type. I'll show you exactly why I'm not excited about this phone. Here's the website. Oh my gosh, what is going on with my Google Chrome right now? What the hell? All right, let me restart Chrome real quick. This is being bullshit. There we go. All right, it's just killing off everything. So sorry if my stream drops. My computer's being real stupid. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys why I'm not if it'll load. Let's go to their page. All right. So you start scrolling, right? A transformative triple camera system. Then you scroll down. Oh, nothing's fucking loading here. Pictures of the camera, pictures of the camera, pictures of the camera. Take a closer look. 2 sizes, 4 finishes, stainless steel and glass design. Big ass picture of the camera. Keep moving. Oh, what the fuck? Pro camera system. We've 3-upped ourselves. Oh my gosh, meet the first triple camera system. It's got ultra wide camera. It's got wide camera. It's got telephoto camera. It has an expanded field of view. You can go here and you can navigate through. It has an elegant, immersive. Oh, look, it's the photo interface. Oh, let's keep scrolling here. It's got a 4K video camera on it. Guys, we're like 3/4 of the way here, and we are still fucking talking about the camera. Ultra wide, take it all in. Look at these pictures that you can take with your camera. It's like, am I buying a camera or am I buying a goddamn phone? This is the reason that I'm not interested in your phone, because I am almost all the way down this page and you are continuing to just talk about your fucking camera. Roy Speedrun says, iPhone owners don't care about specs. They want sparkle and shine. And look, I don't care about specs either because I don't understand them. and I don't care about things I don't understand. But yeah, like I don't take a lot of pictures. I'm not a big picture guy on my phone, so I'm not interested in how many cameras you can attach to the back of it. I thought 2 was a little ridiculous. I've got 2 on the back of mine. Anyway, next item on the list. Oh, I do need to pull up my dashboard so I can put stream markers down. Sorry, guys. Been a shit show over here today. All right, next item on the list. Pokemon Go just had its biggest month since 2016. Pokemon, and this is from Ryan Craddock over at Nintendo Life. It says, Pokemon Go never really has what you'd call a bad month, but things are looking even better than usual for Niantic and its world-dominating augmented reality game right now. According to data compiled by Superdata, the monster catching app generated a mind-boggling $176 million in August, which incidentally means the game has just had its strongest month since 2016, when it first launched to crazy levels of hype. Superdata says the quote outperformance was partly driven by a flurry of in-game events as Niantic capitalized on what is typically the game's strongest month. End quote. Holy shit, guys! Holy shit! $176 million for a 3-year-old mobile game. It's wild, man. Wild. And people are like, look, this is the poster child for mobile games. This is the poster child for augmented reality games. Every game wants to be Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is the Fortnite of the mobile games world. Every mobile game wants to be Pokemon Go. And it's just not possible. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it at all. Pokemon Go is fun, but how can you keep playing this game after 3 years? So I imagine a lot of the people that are playing this are OGs or are OG Pokemon Go players. More power to you, man. If that's what you find fun and exciting, that's cool. I just don't understand how a mobile game can keep you held for $176 million. Holy shit. Holy shit. All right. Then the next sentence in this is, while cooler September conditions may start to have an impact on the numbers, it's like, cooler Septembers? Where? Where are these places I must go? Show me. Show me where they are. Next item on the list. I want to really quickly hit on this Kojima controversy. So I'm sure you guys saw this yesterday. Kojima sent out, so Kojima has 2 Twitter accounts. He has his native Japanese Twitter account where he tweets in Japanese, and then he has an English account where either he or somebody in his staff tweets a translated version of his tweets out. So he tweeted this. Let me get the right one because there's a few. This was the tweet that got a lot of traction here. It says, a Hideo Kojima game means the declaration of me doing concept, produce, original story, script, setting, game design, casting, dealing, directing, difficulty adjustments, promoting, visual design, editing, supervising the merch, end quote. And everybody just fucking jumped down Kojima's throat about this. They were like, oh man, look at Kojima trying to say he does all this shit. And I posted a tweet. So Jason Schreier posted a tweet, like a joke tweet about it, and quote tweeted this. And I quote tweeted Jason Schreier's and just said, like, has Kojima jumped the shark? And I think some people read that tweet and thought that I was saying, oh, I agree with Jason Schreier here, but I wasn't. But like, I do feel like the narrative tides have turned against Kojima a little bit. I think people are starting to get a little bit tired of Kojima's shtick of being the guy, of being like, you know, he approaches video game development much like a director approaches a movie, you know, and they mention it in this in this story over here. You can read this. This is from Brian Ashcroft over at Kotaku. So and they mention how, like, you know, it's a Spike Lee joint, it's you know, a Guillermo del Toro film, or, you know, like how directors attach their names to these movies and make it seem as if they're the ones that are making it, when in reality there's a big crew around them who was helping them to deliver on their vision. And I get people's frustration maybe with Kojima, but I feel like we have this sensitivity towards developers, and we like to make them feel more shortchanged in areas like this, when in reality we should be fighting for how they're shortchanged in other areas. And this was just like a controversy that was created out of a place where there was no controversy, because if you were to read the tweet, I mean, if you were to translate the tweet from Japanese, and full transparency, I don't speak or read Japanese, but what he really said was essentially a Hideo Kojima game means I am involved in all of these things, in the concept, producing, original story, script, like he is involved in all these things. And I do believe that. I think Kojima is one of those guys who spreads himself across the project. He wants his fingerprints on everything. He wants to know, what the left hand is doing while keeping tabs on the right hand as well. Like, he cares. And so, look, I get a little exhausted by the narrative around Kojima. I think it has less to do with him and more to do with his fan base that just kind of places him on this pedestal and, talks about him as if he's some sort of enigmatic god or something. Like, I get frustrated and exhausted by that, but I think Kojima loves games. He fucking loves video games. He loves film. He loves art. And like, I think he's doing cool things. And so let's just give a guy who doesn't speak English the benefit of the doubt when he says something a little strange in English on his Twitter account. And now Kojima probably could do with somebody who was looking at it and could help him to say what he is actually wanting to say a little better. But yeah, I saw this shit yesterday and was just like, this is so exhausting. Like, this is just, we're making controversies where controversies shouldn't exist. It doesn't fucking matter. Kojima is not trying to say he does everything for the game. We'd still be waiting on Metal Gear Solid 1 if that was the case. Roy Speedrun says, I don't understand why art house games aren't appreciated. When you say art house games, Roy Speedrun, like, what games are you talking about? Like, ones where it's just like, hey, this is one creator who really does do all of these things. Because I think every year you get like one or two of those games that really, like, I think about Cuphead. Cuphead was made by a team of like 3 people. Hand-drawn art, awesome level design, those sorts of things. And like, Cuphead is revered. Celeste, made by, I think, just a handful of people as well, like, really revered. So I think that there is a growing appreciation for art house. I think that there's still a negative perception around, like, oh man, they're all just like walking simulators or, text adventures and shit like that. When in reality, like, a lot of these games have really fun gameplay, really interesting worlds and characters. So yeah, can we just stop? Oh, are you talking about Death Stranding? Because he says everyone is ranting about, I don't get it, but the idea behind it feels like it's supposed to be cryptic. It's going to be an experience. I'm part of that I don't get it crowd. Like, and I'm one of those people that, like, again, I'm more exhausted around the narrative around Death Stranding than I am necessarily about Death Stranding. And I'm to the point where I'm like, look, the only person I can trust, whose opinion I can trust about Death Stranding, is my own. I can't trust anybody else on what they have to say about this game. I just can't do it. Because everybody's either ready to crown this thing a fucking masterpiece or say that it's trash. I'm like, I just want to play it. Enough talking about it. I'm done watching trailers. I'm done listening to, all the details. Like, I'm going to wait for the game to come out. I'm going to play the game. I'm going to establish my own thoughts on the game. And I'm going to die with those thoughts. I'm going to take them to the grave with me. Last item on the list here. Long show today, guys. We're about an hour and 25 into this. Epic paid $10.5 million for Control's exclusivity. This is according to a financial report from Digital Bros via GameDaily.biz. And you can read this whole story over at Kotaku. Look, guys, this is nothing new. Oh, I'm sorry. I have the story up already. Paying for exclusivity for your platform is nothing new. The fact that this is just a, exclusivity to a PC launcher is no different than when Xbox paid for Tomb Raider, when PlayStation pays for exclusivity on other things as well. Like, I I think $10.5 million is interesting, though. I would love to see how much they kind of aided on that, honestly, because Control did not crack the top 20 NPD in August. And you may say, like, oh, well, that released at the end of August, but, you know, like Man of Medan released at the end of August, and it cracked the top 20 of the NPD. Control did not. And that's kind of something that Remedy is a little known for. Their games don't tend to sell well. They may be really critically acclaimed, but they don't really sell well. And so I would love to see how much money the Epic Game Store actually made off of a $10.5 million deal for a game that, from everything we can tell, did not sell great. All right, guys. That's going to do it for the PvA Nightly Rundown for tonight. Remember, on Mondays, we end the show right after the show, so no game stream tonight because I got to be up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Ugh. We appreciate you tuning in, hanging out over here on twitch.tv/PVA Radio. If you have not yet, make sure you hit that follow button. Also, I believe September is still going, so you can subscribe for half off, $2.50 for your very first month. So if you haven't done that yet, make sure you take advantage of that. If you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button or subscribe, whichever one. Leave a comment also on any of these stories. That would be greatly appreciated. I try to respond to every single comment on YouTube. If you're thoughtful and on topic, if you're just trolling, I'm obviously not going to waste my fucking time. So, but for everybody that watches and engages, I definitely greatly appreciate you. And until next time, guys, we love you and goodbye.